Adds a whole
this is a
nother layer.
conspiracy by Blake to try to silence me.
What the?
First, he busted his PC, and now he's muting me on our own podcast, so I can't share my opinion.
Hold on. Oh, I see why. Talk now.
Hello?
Okay, it should be going through now. Say it again.
That's what you said the last time.
I know why it wasn't working before. Now I think I think we fixed it. Which
This is
adds a whole nother layer.
By Blake to try to silence me.
What the?
First, he busted his PC, and now he's muting me on our own podcast, so I can't share my opinion.
I'm checking something. I
have things to say. I have opinions to be had.
Please hold. Okay, it's weird. I don't know why it did that, but it works now. So I may have done that on accident before.
I don't know why it did that.
I like silencing Emily. Specifically Emily.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay, cool. So we're back. It's been a month and a half.
It's been a while. We had Christmas and New Year's. I went to Europe. Blake cried over his PC for a month.
I cried over more than that. Hold on. Emily heard about so many rants from me over the last month and a half. Like,
I got to see Blake in person during all of this too.
It's true. She did. I have to. The Christmas gift you got me is at Greg and Karen's house in Florida. I have to go pick that up next weekend. I couldn't fly down with it. I couldn't fly. I didn't have enough room to fly with it, and they were driving to Florida anyways.
Oh, your birthday present. I was like, I saw you hang up the
Christmas present. I got them mixed up.
Do you want to show everyone what I got you for Christmas?
I mean, I'd have to move it. No, I can take it off the wall. It's just a push pin. It's just a push pin.
I put mine up with a push pin.
Yeah. So I will be me and she got something similar for me and her friend Tia. Okay. To be clear, I'm gonna come back and tell the story.
And myself. I got myself. You guys can't see mine. It's on my wall. I can't reach it right now.
So
but I got them. I'm just gonna, before you tell your story, I'm gonna start in with where I got them. Many of you know I went to Paris at the beginning of December, and I went to a lot of their Christmas markets. And as I was walking through the Christmas markets, there was a man who finds these old vinyls, and he like carves them into different shapes and whatnot. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we got a Zelda one." And I immediately looked at the Zelda one. I was like, "Well, I simply must have that." And then I was like, "Do you have other video games?" And he pulled out a Mario one, and I was like, "Well, I simply must know I know who simply must have that one." And then I found a Pokemon one, and I was like, "Okay, getting that for my other friend." And I walked away, and I got one for my dad too. I walked away from that Christmas market stall with like 5 of these vinyls, and I was like, half my Christmas shopping is done. I feel great. I thought they were so fun.
Real quick, hi G, hi Voldy. Honestly, I could have gone with either. What made it funny, and I felt bad about it at first, but until you explained it, because me and Tia both opened it and we're like, we didn't understand because they came in cases of like, it was like a Mozart case, and she
got like the vinyl. It like the cases did not describe what they were. He put them in old like vinyl cases. So like yours was like Mozart, and our other friend's was man, I don't remember what
it was. Beethoven. It was Beethoven, I think.
Yeah, but it was Beethoven done by somebody else, and they had his like face, and like so Tia and Blake opened them at the same time and just kind of looked at the cases and were like,
yeah, because she said like, "Oh, you know, I saw these, immediately thought of you." I'm like, "You thought of me through Mozart?" Like,
yeah, like whenever I hear Mozart, I think of you.
I mean, valid. I used to play piano. I played piano for 13 years.
I did not know that about you.
That's something you know. And honestly, if I were to try to pick it up again, I can learn it fast. I've already proved I can relearn it fast, but it's now been another like 6 years since I played. So,
maybe 2025 is the year you pick up the piano again.
I have too long of a backlog to have time. We're playing Bloodborne on the piano, guys. We're gonna hook up the keyboard to the PS5. We're gonna.
That's it. That's the one.
Okay. I guess I should do some explaining as to what happened.
Why we shit the bed.
Yeah, here was the plan. We had an episode for Zelda scheduled for the day before Thanksgiving. That Sunday before, my computer kept crashing, and not like a normal like blue screen and then falling apart, but it kept going black screen after 30 minutes to an hour and then restarting itself. I took it apart like 4 times, put new thermal paste, blah, 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 rehooked everything up, couldn't figure it out. Took it to a shop. They're like, oh, it's overheating. You need a new motherboard. $400. And I said, I'll do the motherboard. Here's your diagnostic fee. I bought the motherboard. Same issue. Motherboard wasn't the issue. I bought new RAM. RAM wasn't the issue. What had happened was, the thing I should have checked first was that the cooler had gone bad. The liquid cooler went bad. And every time I kept trying something new and pushing that computer to its limit, I cooked the CPU. So by the time I found out it was the cooler, I also killed the CPU. Because that's just how life works.
So you just slowly destroyed your own computer while also simultaneously replacing new part after new part.
Yeah, I returned that motherboard. I returned the RAM. I bought a new CPU. I bought a new cooler. And a new, which when I did that, it was it was staying cool, which like, okay, that's good. But then it kept restarting. I'm like, okay, it's staying cool, but the CPU's dead. Got a new CPU, worked just fine. Ended up getting myself, as a birthday gift to myself, I got myself a new case anyways. And then I did get a new motherboard because that motherboard, even though it was working, it was on its way out. So I did end up replacing that anyways. And now we're cooking. I'm still having some issues. But they're not major, they're not game-breaking issues like we had before, so I should be officially back. The other downside, and the really upsetting part, is that giant, monitor I had. You've seen it, that 49-inch monitor I had. It does not work.
He's really struggling, guys. He's had a really rough month.
I luckily have backup monitors.
I know, but that still sucks so terribly.
It is what it be what it do, as they say. I mean, there's no use crying over spilt milk.
It's sad because we had
we had plans.
So many streams planned. We were going to do a 2024 in review. We were gonna do our own brackets for Game of the Year, which is redundant to do now because we know what won Game of the Year.
We were actually going to watch the Game Awards.
Do the Game Awards. We were gonna. Yeah, we had a lot of plans that are just now redundant because the year is over and it's now 2025. But we're gonna try to take all of those podcast episode plans that we had and shove them into a condensed single podcast because we still do want to talk about what our top games of 2024 were, what we're most excited for in 2025, what's on the horizon, what we're going to be playing and streaming. So we want to talk to you guys too about what your favorites were. So throw it in the chat. What was your top game of 2024? What are you most excited for 2025? We might not read them at this moment, but we'll get to them later in the podcast episode, I promise.
Yeah. One thing I should note, because we're going to condense all those episodes. There's 2 things we're not condensing into this episode. One, the Zelda tier list will be coming probably, if I had to guess, we'll do it next week. We'll probably do it next week. Correct? Really? Yeah, because, it's early 2025. Nothing's coming out. And we'll talk about more why things aren't coming out anytime soon when we get to the news segment. And also, Mario and Luigi Brothership review is not coming because whenever I was going to play that and be ready for the December review, that's when the computer crashed. And then I'm just I don't feel like playing anything. And I did not. So
I still think, in my opinion, and you guys can tell Blake what you think about this, I think he should still play it and tell you guys what his thoughts are.
I could still play Brothership. I said Brotherhood. It's Brothership. It's that stupid name.
It's really bad. Brothership is really terrible. Nobody says Brothership.
It's Assassin's Creed Mario and Luigi Brotherhood ship.
Honestly, that'd be so fun.
A crossover Assassin's Creed Mario and Luigi game?
Yeah, give me an Assassin's Creed game with the aesthetic of a Mario game. It would be. I think I would have the most fun with that because Mario would actually be doing something other than the nothing he's done for the last 5 games.
Hold up. You can't start 2025 this spicy, right? We just started. Here's
the thing. We just started, but I've had to hold in my thoughts on a lot of things for the last month and a half. And I the building up of the spiciness is now allowed to be released. And I'm just saying, I don't think Mario's done much. Or
Uh,
like he's been very I mean, you all know my thoughts on Odyssey. He spent a lot of the time going to cake kingdoms and swimming with dolphins.
it's okay to be wrong, but it's whatever. It's neither here
I'm
nor
not
there.
saying it's not fun. I'm saying he hasn't been doing much.
Before we jump
The
into
stakes
main
have never been lower.
before we jump into main topics, I have very few pieces of news.
One of them is devastating to me. Just know that.
Yeah, this is
Devastating.
now granted this whole episode is news. Literally this whole episode is news, but this is like the smaller the tidbits if you will.
That
The
happened very recently.
yeah. Anywho, so we'll do the devastating one first. Assassin's Creed Shadows as of today was delayed again from February 14th to March 20th.
I'm so curious. Like, I'm so genuinely curious what the delays are for. I'm wondering, like, if they're trying to fix some of the things they got backlash on, which would require huge story changes, in my opinion. Or
They wouldn't
if
have
they
enough time
just
for that.
are trying to make it less buggy. But like, here's the thing, and here's what I said the first time they pushed it back. Because if y'all remember, originally it was supposed to come out, mid-November.
Yes.
And they ended up pushing it back to February, and now they've pushed it back to March. And every time they push it back, I think their review scores and I think the overall opinion of the game is going to go down because they are pushing themselves closer and closer and closer to the release of Ghost of Yotei. And as we all know, or if you've played Ghost of Tsushima, or maybe this is just me and Blake, I think Ghost of Tsushima is a better form of Assassin's Creed. It is basically
Yes.
Assassin's Creed done slightly better. And that juxtaposition in quality, especially when their Assassin's Creed is now doing a game set in Japan after all this time, which the fans have wanted for a very long time, I think that contrast in quality is never going to be more obvious than when you drop Shadows and Yotei in the same year. Now, maybe that's jumping the gun because Ghost of Yotei hasn't come out. We can't say if it's going to be good. We don't know if it's going to be up to the same quality that we liked in Ghost of Tsushima. So, Shadows could win out in the end. I'm just saying it's pitting two very similar games against each other. And Ubisoft historically is not going to have the winning
No, they're not.
horse in that race.
Sucker Punch is going to take this by a long shot, but we don't even have a release date yet.
Big statements out there like that yet because we don't know.
Emily, look me in the face and tell me that AC Shadows has a chance of being better than Ghost of Yotei.
AC Shadows has a chance. I'm not saying it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be. I think if past this prologue, Ghost of Yotei is going to beat up Assassin's Creed Shadows. I will say we have not played Shadows yet. We have not played Yotei yet.
It's
Definitely
true.
know little to nothing about Yotei. And I've seen a lot of really cool parkour elements, the seasonal elements they've added to Shadows. Even if at the end of the day it's the lesser quality game, it could still be very fun for me. And so I don't want to throw, but I'm just saying in terms of review scores, Game of the Year contention, I think Ubisoft is kind of shooting itself in the foot by coming out so close to Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah, well, we
Maybe
need
Ghost of Yotei will come out December, and it won't matter.
Yeah, because we don't have a date. If I had a guess, Ghost of Yotei will probably hit July. That's my guess. It's gonna hit on July 19th specifically.
Thanks, true for me. I think Ghost of Tsushima came out June or July of 2020, so that tracks.
Yeah.
I would say late spring, early summer.
Yeah. I think it's a safe bet. They wouldn't have announced it so close. I mean, they did the same with Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch does the right thing where they don't announce shit until like we're almost ready for it.
That's my preference. I don't like when people announce things like 10 years before they're coming out.
Square Enix Kingdom Hearts.
Yes. I don't want to hear about it until you have it done and almost in my hand.
Yeah. Why do I have a Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer and no other information since that trailer? You're doing a Kingdom Hearts 3 all over again.
It's been like now
4 years, I think.
3 years since that original trailer.
No, it's
6
been
years since the release of Kingdom Hearts 3.
almost 6 years to the day.
6 years. That's insane.
Hearts 4 trailer. When did it officially drop? April 10th, 2022. Okay, so yeah, you're right. It is 3 years.
3 years since the trailer. 6 years since Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't know what we're doing.
Um,
What's happening?
moving on to other news. This one Emily told me about until she realized that I'm the one who reposted it on Facebook. Is that Shift Up, the company that created Stellar Blade? Apparently, they exceeded their expectations, so they gave all their employees $3,400 in bonuses as well as a PS5 Pro, which is insane. Like that's a lot of money. That's at least $4,000 a person getting
That's good
cash.
money.
That is
Taylor
good
Swift.
for them.
Taylor Swift donated or bonused all her tour workers $100,000.
If we're doing the wrong job, why aren't we working for her?
Yeah, no, that's cool. They paid for those bonuses with the jiggle physics.
Oh
So good for them.
Here's your boob money.
Yeah.
Here's your boob money.
Bread. Keep your bread. I'm here for you.
Oh, I mean, Jiggle Physics aside, really, really fun game. Though I'm gonna say the near like collaboration was weird. It took a character who was already over sexualized and made her even more sexualized with a more sexual character, just because fan service. So,
So fun. I love when games do that.
uh,
I love when games have that. It's very
this one is from a couple weeks. Oh wait, you're saying something. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, coming from a couple weeks ago. Nothing concrete yet, but people have been rumoring and leaking the potential of an actual new Sony handheld, and I mean like not another Portal or something, but like a Vita successor. They've seen how well the Switch has done, and they're like, okay, we probably need to tap into that market. There's nothing concrete. There's obviously been no announcements, but there is a high likelihood Sony's going to get back into that market. I wouldn't hate it. I could take a PlayStation 4 portable. I would be okay. Emily looks skeptical. She does not look happy about it.
Here's the thing, in my opinion, that makes the Switch great. I like handhelds. They're not my favorite. But what makes the Switch great and why I like the Switch is I can play handheld or on my TV. Am I going to be able to, let's say, if I am playing Dreamlight Valley on my PS5 and now I'm going on vacation, open up the exact same Dreamlight Valley game on this PlayStation Portable and continue my game? Or is it going to be like, I have to buy Dreamlight Valley a second time and start a completely new game on this portable? In which case, I think you lose what made the Switch so magical and popular.
I think so. When it comes to being able to be docked, yes, they're gonna go that route. I mean, everyone else, whoever is, Steam is doing it. Every company that's made a PC handheld has done that route where you plug it in and plugs into a monitor like it's a normal thing.
I don't know if it will connect to my PS5.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's a given. You have PSN. PSN's gonna connect, and if those games can cross save, which they most likely can, I don't see why they wouldn't. You'll be fine.
I'm
there.
gonna have to rebuy the games for my, because that's the thing with Switches. I buy one game.
Yeah,
and I can have it both on the TV and on the handheld.
I think those days are over. I think those days of having to buy multiple copies are long over. We haven't had that in a long time.
I don't know if that's the case.
I mean, other than from PC to a console, yeah, no. But in terms of most games, if I buy a PS5 version of a game or if I buy a PS4 version of a game, it gives me the PS5 version. It gives me the other version anyways. It's just like, here, you use the other version. If something happens to your PS5, you have to play on PS4, right?
I mean, I'd be interested in that if it was the case. But if it's telling me I have to rebuy games to be able to play them on the handheld, then I'm not.
I will say this, most likely, I don't think that's going to happen. I can't speak to that. But as for saves, I think saves will transfer. I think saves will be able to be transferred over. God, Emily with handheld Dreamlight Valley is terrifying to think about. And I don't mean, you technically can get Dreamlight Valley portably, but it's on the Switch, and the Switch version is booty cheeks.
Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It's pretty terrible. I think this is one of those scenarios, I think it's good for me, but I can't play Dreamlight Valley portably. Because then I would take it on planes and on trips, and I think those are good opportunities for me to put it down and not interact with it.
Those PlayStation hours are gonna really start racking up at the end of the year.
They always do. Let's not forget, Dreamlight Valley was my top game for like 9 of the 12 months of 2024, and I think like 11 of the 12 months in 2023. So
I now it's not going to be that way this year. I guarantee you it's going to be less. 'Cause I think AC Shadows and Yote is going to take up so much of your time.
So here's the thing. I mean, again, if Estes Prologue, if Assassin's Creed Shadows is the same size as let's say Odyssey, right? That was like a 130-hour game for me.
Yeah.
Ghost of Yote, if it's the same size as Ghost of Tsushima, it's 60, 70-hour game for me. That could be the top game of the month, but I don't know. I mean, quality, yeah, it might end up being my top game of the year, but in between games, I play Dreamlight Valley consistently all year long. I will not be playing Ghost of Yote all year long consistently.
She is playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. She's replaying it.
I am. I did just start it. I haven't gotten any farther because I've been playing Dreamlight Valley.
I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to help you, and you shot yourself in the foot.
I know what I am. All right. You know what? Okay, before anybody gets on, oh, Emily needs to play or do something other than Dreamlight Valley, I've read 6 books so far in 2025.
Yes, I'm very proud of her.
So how many books have all of you read in 2025 so far? And then we'll talk.
I haven't really played any games in 2025 at all, other than one. I've played one game, and I've only played like 5 hours of it.
Elatro?
Yeah. And that's just a turn my brain off for like an hour and a half game. We're going to talk about that later. It's going to be like a mini, not real review, but mini review.
We do have a lot to cover.
Yeah, I know. So we'll get to that after news, and then we'll get into the big stuff. This is the last piece of news I do have, and we're not going to go into full details on it because we're going to be talking about this topic later anyways, but just this piece of news. Today, Genki, the company that makes third-party peripherals, showed off a 3D model of what the Switch 2 looks like. So, because
let's not talk too much about this because
I know I'm just bringing it up. We're going to talk about it a lot. It happened today, so I'm just bringing it up now, even though we're going to talk about it a lot later.
They should just do the announcement because there's been so many leaks and just like people saying this is what it is. I feel like at this point the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, I'm calling it. I'm calling the announcement either not next week. I think in 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So not next week, the week after next, or the week after that. I think we're going to officially get it.
So not to like make fun of you, but they've already confirmed they have to announce it before March. So you're working on like a 5-week timeline.
I know.
You just like claimed like 2 or 3 of those weeks. So
I think I got a good shot.
Yeah, no, you absolutely do. And
some would say a 40% chance.
The more of a shot you have.
40% is definitely not 0. So. You know.
I think you could be very right. I think it could come in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That would make sense.
Cool. Go ahead.
Let's start talking about things that happened at the end of 2024. Obviously, we have a lot to cover. The Game Awards happened. Game of the Year happened. And if you watch the Game of the Awards or were in Game of the Year conversations, you know there was quite a bit of drama that unfolded around the whole circumstance. Yeah. There was a bit of drama before. Obviously, Blake and I talked about the fact that Elden Ring had been nominated for Game of the Year, considering it was just a DLC, and we talked about how we didn't really agree with that.
And guess what? Guess what? It didn't win anything! I'm sorry, I'm done.
Win a single thing, and that nothing has ever made me happier than Elden Ring walking away with nothing. Because DLCs are not full games. I have to pay for the game to play it. It's not a full game. People
it's like, the Willy Wonka meme. It's the you lose, you get nothing. We already did this rant, so I'm not going to do it again. But like people are like, oh, but it's the length of a full game. Oh, shut up.
Full game. It's the same game. It's the same assets. It's the same world. It's probably the same characters. I have to have and own the game to be able to play. Something, whatever. But that's not the drama we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some Black Myth Wukong stuff. We're going to talk about Astrobot, which, as many of you know, took up the trophy of Game of the Year.
As it should have.
As it should have. Well deserved. We're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3, surprisingly. Last year's Game of the Year winner. I guess 2 years ago at this point, because now we're in 2025. We're going to talk about our own personal Game of the Year picks. And just a lot of the things that were announced and talked about at the Game Awards that we haven't had the chance to. And I know these are probably old news for a lot of you at this point, but you haven't heard us talk about them, so it's basically new. Or at least please pretend it's new.
We'll start with the Black Myth Wukong drama because it is the bulk of it, and most of these topics kind of all tie into it, including the Baldur's Gate 3 thing. We'll get into that in a second.
Can I introduce the Black Myth Wukong stuff?
Sure.
Because I just want to say, before we get into, like, you can talk about everything that happened at the Game Awards and after and whatnot. I just want to say, before we get into what happened at the Game Awards, for the record, I was against Black Myth Wukong from the start. There was always a lot of controversy around, not the game itself, I don't care about the game. Sorry, guys, I actually don't care about the gameplay itself.
I'm sure the gameplay was fun, and it was a fun game.
Yeah, I literally don't care about the game itself. I care about the people who made the game and a lot of the conversations that were happening around the game, and I particularly care about the devs telling streamers they're not allowed to talk about feminism. There was a lot in there. There was a lot of rumors about the devs saying some pretty nasty stuff about women, so I was against the game receiving any kind of promotion like that from the start. But I also want to make it clear, before Blake dives into this controversy and everything, that Black Myth Wukong is the lowest rated game to ever be nominated for Game of the Year. And it was nominated for Game of the Year over games that received higher review scores, including Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, Stellar Blade even. There were games that were, in my opinion, better, that received better scores, that did not get the Game of the Year nomination. So in my opinion, Black Myth Wukong should have just been grateful to be included, considering they are historically the worst game to ever be nominated. So just keep that all in mind when Blake tells you about how this drama went down.
Yeah. I will start by saying this. Black Myth Wukong did win a handful of awards. They won the Golden Joysticks, which is, I think, the UK's version of the Game Awards, so good for them, whatever. They won the Player's Choice, which, totally fine. They've won, I can't remember everything. They've won, like,
Best Action.
Yeah, Best Action Game. They won a handful. They won a good chunk. They didn't win nothing. They didn't walk out of there with nothing.
Yeah.
But we're going to step back first. We're going to remember 2023 Game of the Year. It is Spider-Man 2. It is Baldur's Gate 3, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It was one of the greatest...
Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4. Please don't leave off 2 of the best contenders.
Sure.
Resident Evil 4 was hugely critically acclaimed.
It was.
Do not leave it off.
And Super Mario Wonder, which is the 5th. We can't lie. 2023 was one of the greatest Game of the Year. Like, that was one of the hardest picks. I was content with any of them winning. Here's the thing. We all knew Baldur's Gate 3 was going to win, though. Like, there was no way in hell it wasn't. And it did win.
You and I did our predictions beforehand, and we both even said...
As people who didn't play it at that point. Like, we hadn't played it.
We hadn't even played it, and we were like, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to take it, obviously.
Yeah. And so it happened. And when that happened, a bunch of dude bros who had never played it were mad that Spider-Man 2 did not win. Which, in retrospect, at that point in time, had Baldur's Gate 3 not won, it probably still would not have been Spider-Man 2, which was just an okay, safe game. Still very fun, but not, besides the point. Fast forward now, and we're having a repeat. History is fully repeating itself. The difference here is that, like Emily already said, Black Myth Wukong is the lowest rated game ever nominated. Now, granted, ratings don't always matter. Sales don't always matter. Black Myth Wukong did have the most sales. Those are heavily inflated by China, but besides the point, it doesn't matter in the long run. Whenever Astrobot won, the Dude Bros came back. And it was not my monkey game. Why wasn't it my monkey game? Why did Black Myth Wukong lose? And they are starting to throw a fit. These are the same Dude Bros. And crazy enough, a lot of the people I see complaining did complain about Baldur's Gate 3 last year. It was the same group. And just like last year, they all played Baldur's Gate 3 after, and okay, most of them actually said, okay, I can see why this is a good game. And this year, most of them play Astrobot, and they're like, okay, I get it now, right? Besides the point, there's still a lot of discourse online. People are saying it's not the same game, not as enough heart went into it, it's not as long, it's a kid's game, it's not. Those people have not played it. Anybody
Oh,
who are making
those
those things
people are
have not played it.
stupid.
Yes.
Because Game of the Year, and to be clear, and I think this is where a lot of people get confused,
Let Emily be
Game of the
clear.
Year is not the most popular game of the year. It's not the highest selling game of the year. It's not the longest game of the year. It is the best game of the year.
The most
It is the
fun.
game, the most fun, the highest quality game, the game that from beginning to end was filled with heart and quality. You can tell that it was well done. The best experience from beginning to end, whether that's a 5-hour game or a 150-hour game. If we start conflating those and just picking the highest selling game or the longest game or the biggest game, or somebody told me the other day, well, it was in development for so long, don't they deserve it? And I'm like, yeah, Cyberpunk was in development for 12 years.
And it
The
was
Last
awful.
Guardian was in development for 8 years, and those were terrible games. Like, yes, Cyberpunk redeemed itself eventually, but like,
And also a lot of people like The Last Guardian. It's just you.
Okay, a lot of people like The Last Guardian, but I think it's widely acknowledged that the controls in that game are
Oh yeah, they're
rough.
terrible. They are terrible.
I could not get through a few hours of that game because I could not get the controls in order. And that was a game where you had a giant pet. Okay? If anybody was going to push through bad controls to beat that game, it was going to be me. And I couldn't do it.
And she played Skyward Sword. I'm just kidding. I'm done. I'm done.
Is not on the same level as The Last Guardian.
I'm sorry.
If we start conflating that too, those things, we're just gonna start picking the biggest, most bloated games for Game of the Year, even if they don't deserve it. You know, games aren't games that are long can be long, like Persona 5, that has a lot for in the beat to beat, or it can be long in the sense of like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which, as much as I love that game, has a lot of bloat to it. And so people who are out here saying, well, it's a kid's game, it's not very long, blah blah blah, that doesn't matter because that's not in consideration for Game of the Year. We're talking about the best game, the best experience offered to player from beginning to end.
So, that all aside, because Emily's 1,000% correct. I mean, let me put this into perspective. Actually, Emily's the perfect person to put this into perspective. Also, Emily, I'm going to ask you to look the other way because it looks like you're looking away.
We'll have to change that next time, man, because this is the position in which I'm now comfortable in. So, sorry, guys.
She's looking.
Like it's because it censored me at the beginning of this episode.
Jeez. Okay. So
like, I can turn this way, but now I'm looking at a potted plant in the corner of my room. Like, is this what you want? Like, I can
get back in your comfy position. I'm fixing it.
Hi, Blake. It's good to talk to you. I'm talking to the potted plant in the corner of the room.
Nope, don't face the other way. I'm fixing you. I'm fixing you here.
No, don't flip me around. Just leave me as I am. I'm happy. Why did you start this? Like, I didn't even complain about the webcam up here.
I know, it's been 30 minutes and she hasn't complained yet.
I didn't complain about anything. I was happy and set, and you started this. You laid the seeds. I can't
take you seriously when you're yelling at me but not looking at me.
Well, then, Blake, you know what you can do? You can put my webcam and my video in the left thing, and you can put yours in the right.
Yeah, that's not how this works. Continuing on.
I offered him the perfect solution. Everyone heard it right. I offered him the perfect
I could just flip you in OBS.
I don't want you to flip me. What part of I'm happy with the way the webcam and the stream look at this moment made you think I wanted you to flip my camera? Can we go back to talking about video games now?
I suppose. So...
Do you feel better that I'm looking at you now? You son of a bitch.
Guys, we're so back. We're so fucking back. I'm 5 years old.
Complain. You even said before the stream started, you're like, well, you'll complain about it when it starts.
I know, I was going to make a joke. I was going to make a joke how you hadn't complained yet at the end, but I'm the one who ruined it, so.
Whatever, okay.
This is the new, guys, this is the new layout. Emily is now permanently on the right and I'm permanently on the left.
What?
Other way around. Emily's permanently on the left and I'm permanently on the right. Sorry.
Blake, you talked about how the dude bros on the internet complain. And here's the thing. I don't care. like, it's stupid, but I have learned over the past couple years that they will complain about everything. They complained because Star Wars Outlaws had a female protagonist and she wasn't pretty. They complained because Assassin's Creed Shadow has a black man in it. They complain. I mean, like, they're
They
gonna
complain
complain
about
about
Yote
everything.
having a woman.
They complain about Yoshi. They complain about the girl in The Witcher not looking pretty. I'm gonna talk about the devs and how the devs how the Black Myth Wukong devs handled
we're gonna
losing Game of the Year.
We're gonna get to that what I was opening up with before I derailed, because I will take the derailing fault.
Else was gonna take the fault for that, Blake. We have the evidence for it. You did this.
Okay. Anywho, we're gonna take Emily as the example here. Emily historically is either anti-platformer or just okay with platformer. They're not her least.
Emily historically likes bad games.
Listen, I don't want to call. It's rude to call people out on blast like that, Emily, and I would never do that.
I know what I am.
Which is also not true, because you've recommended good games to me just as I've recommended good games to you. One of them, which is on her backlog list, which we'll talk about that later. Emily, historically, platformers are not her favorite thing in the world. She either
I don't like doing the same thing over and over and over and over, trying to get it right. It makes me mad. It makes me want to smash my controller in half.
When the game did come out, Emily went out to buy a physical copy, which just shocked me from the get-go. She only buys physical copies of games she knows she's going to love. And immediately...
Here's the thing. I never doubted Astrobot was going to be a good game. I doubted if it was going to be a game for me. Actually, no, I didn't even doubt it was going to be a game for me, because I loved Astro's Playroom, for the record.
We all
I played
did.
Astro's Playroom. I was obsessed with that game, loved it. So I knew I was going to like this game. I just wasn't sure if it was going to be like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And while it wasn't a 10 out of 10 for Emily, she did at least accept and understand it to be a Game of the Year contender after we both beat it.
Perfect game. It is, like, from beginning to end, incredibly well made, incredibly well done. The amount of detail and heart in the game is so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, there's literally nothing wrong with it. It functions perfectly. There's so much creativity, so much fun. Whenever I knew Emily fell in love with it, I'm like, yes, we found, ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. We're going back to the era of platformers that I grew up in back in 2002 to 2008. I'm old, guys. Shut up. Actually, probably 2000 to like 2006 is more accurate. The Jack and Daxters, your Sly Coopers, etc. Your Ty the Tasmanian Tigers. But yeah, it says something when people who aren't even like usually into this genre really enjoy it. You know,
Yeah.
It literally was a game that just was made for everybody. And I've heard people complain that that's a safe approach, but in this case, I don't feel like it was a safe approach. It wasn't a safe approach, mainly because, once again, platformers aren't for everybody. And also, if you make a safe approach, you can. Most things that I've seen are safe approaches are just either bad games or just meh games. Like that, and that Astrobot had a shot of being that, but it was neither. It was
It's a weird thing to say that because a game is loved by everybody or made for everybody, therefore it's a safe.
No,
game.
not loved by everybody, made for everybody. I can understand the made for everybody, because it's like a no risk, no reward. But Astrobot definitely took a lot of risks.
Really weird statement to make, because that, when you say a game is made for everybody, that implies to me a family game.
Yes.
Right? Like a game anybody could pick up and enjoy. And when you start saying that, you're implying that games like Mario, which, as much as I don't love Mario, or, you know, like, historically, maybe I'm thinking Nintendo games, but like,
I thought you were about to say Nintendogs.
Worse because they're made for, like, Animal Crossing. Like, Animal Crossing is you can play that game at 5 years old, you can play that game at 90 years old.
It's more like a cut corners argument, I think. Is where people like you're not. Once again, it's a no risk taking, no innovate. People think it's a no risk taking, no innovation type game.
So that's stupid, and it's
I agree. I agree.
Family games have an important place, and games that anyone can pick up and enjoy are why games like Zelda, Animal Crossing, that Mario, even like the platformer Marios that I don't historically enjoy, those are why those games are so loved, because a lot of people can relate to them and have fun with them, and you can play them with your kids, you can play them with your friends.
You can play them with your dog.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I like that's a silly, stupid argument. I don't like that.
Well, people are silly and stupid. Besides the point, we're glazing it up. The only argument I can only semi see as valid, and it's just a minor like thing, and even I don't think it really matters, but I can understand it. Is that it does glaze PlayStation? It is a PlayStation promotion all the way through,
Sure.
which at one point, yes, you're right, but at the same time, it's a promotion for a console you already have, and also it's still a lot of fun. So who cares?
Big for me is like people are like, oh, it's just PlayStation promotion. It's like, yeah, but it's also like a nostalgia trip, right? Because you're going
Yeah.
down a bunch of games you like and you play and you get to like go. It's like almost like a crossover because like there's some like Uncharted, God of War where you actually go into their worlds and do levels based on that. That's like saying that Mario or games like Mario Kart or Mario Party or Mario Tennis or whatever are basically just Nintendo promotions because they include basically a bunch of Nintendo IP from other games.
Yeah.
And that's just nobody's gonna call Super Smash Bros. Like Nintendo promotion or sponsored content.
You wouldn't call Link's Awakening that has a bunch of Mario himself in it, not named Mario, and a chain chomp in the first 5 minutes, a Nintendo promotion.
And that's the thing, but people are like, it's planting. And it's like, you know what? I had so much fun tracking down all those little bots.
I did too,
You
and
shut
the
up.
new ones.
You shut up.
Actually, and I still don't think you played the Christmas level yet. I actually know you didn't play the Christmas
I
level.
haven't. I actually don't have my game anymore.
I know.
I loaned it to a dear friend of mine who is hoping to play in the next couple months, but I haven't had it in a bit.
Yeah, once you get it back, that Christmas level is so much fun. It's so cute and adorable, and I loved every minute of it. Okay, off that. That was
we have to keep going because we're running out of time.
well.
Let's talk about.
We said we're gonna go longer, anyways, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean we can go a little longer, but
Emily's
still have a lot.
tired.
We have a lot to cover is the thing. We still haven't talked about I mean we've started talking about Black Myth Wukong, but we've spent the last 20 minutes not talking about how people reaction. I want to talk about the devs.
Okay,
Black
okay.
Myth Wukong.
We're gonna talk about the devs, and then and you talk about the devs of Black Myth Wukong, and then I'll talk about the Baldur's Gate 3 thing.
So basically the big thing about this and what upset me the most was, yeah, Blake mentioned that the fans got upset. And that's, whatever. Fanboys are going to be fanboys. The internet's going to be the internet. I don't really care much about that. I want to talk about decorum and professionalism in video gaming. And I think the Black Myth Wukong, like I said, I already had some issues with the dev team before they got there and some of the things they were talking about surrounding the game. It very quickly came out that after they lost Game of the Year, not only were some of the people on the team crying, which, okay, I'm not going to fault them for that. Emotions are emotions. But that they said they came there for nothing. And that the guy who made the game had his Game of the Year acceptance speech written for the last 2 years. He was so confident his game was going to win Game of the Year. He wrote his acceptance speech 2 years prior. And then was really butthurt and bitter about not winning. He went on a social media rant, which, okay, I'm just going to openly admit, was in Chinese, so I obviously couldn't read it. I read translations of it, and then I read a bunch of people arguing about the intent of the translations, with some saying he was, kind of shitting on himself and being funny and sarcastic, and other people saying, no, he was being serious, the bitterness was really coming across. I can't tell you what the correct answer was. All I know was it showed a very strong lack of professionalism on the part of the Black Myth Wukong team. I think again, like I said earlier, I think they should have just been happy to be nominated, considering the fact that they were historically the lowest rated game to ever be nominated for Game of the Year. The fact that they thought they were going to win, and then the fact that they went on social media rants and whatnot about not winning, that's just crazy to me, and I don't think there should be any place for that.
No. There really shouldn't, and it's just disappointing. Like, the only reason he made the game then is to win Game of the Year. Like, he didn't care about the gaming industry. He just wanted to win an award.
He wanted to win it so bad. So, like, that was a big bummer for me because fans are going to be fans and they're going to have emotions tied to the games. And, of course, people can be disappointed. But when you start coming at other production teams and other people who are nominated as a nominee, that's embarrassing, I think, and that really defeats the spirit of the Game Awards, which is to celebrate all the different types of game and how they bring people together and how people enjoy different things and celebrate the good work. So that's See, that was a huge bummer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And now we can talk about Larian, who was up there announcing Game of the War. It wasn't Timothy Chalamet. It was the Larian director.
I feel like they did that because if you guys remember correctly, last year they got in some hot water. The Game Awards did for pushing presenters off the stage very quick. Not presenters, award winners off the stage very quickly, especially Nintendo winners who had to have their acceptance speeches translated, so they had less time. Larian and a few others made some snide comments about that, deservedly so.
Yeah.
And so I did not actually hear the walk-off music once for the Game Awards this year. I feel like they really ate crow this time around.
Yeah, no, they did a good job. And Larian, he went up there. He did give some shade about what happened last time, and not appreciating smaller developers and all that without actually saying it. But also, you could tell he already knew who won. Like you could already tell you knew who won, and he was just like, hey, have some decorum in his own way, essentially preparing everybody for Astrobot's win. And of course, Black Myth Wukong fans be Black Myth Wukong fans and didn't like this after Astrobot won. And what do? They go to Steam and they reboot View Bomb it to hell. Now, granted, it's already too late for BG3.
Year, guys. Like, what are you gonna do?
It is still.
They already won Game of the Year. They already made buttloads of money off of that game. No one is going to convince people not to play Baldur's Gate 3 because some Black Myth Wukong fan cried about it on the internet.
And people are like, dude, I already played. Most people at this point have already played BG3.
Like, own it. Like at this, I still haven't fully played it, but I still own it at this point.
I have the collector's edition after it won because I was like, I'm gonna order it physically, and it was one of the best games I ever played in 2024, even though it's a 2023 game. Don't shame me.
Oh.
But that's
crazy. There was just a lot of unnecessary drama around the Game of the Year win. So if you took part in that, please don't. Just, let it go.
Last thing I will say about Game Awards, as much as I don't like him and I think he's a tool, shout out Jeff Keighley for learning from his mistakes and actually correcting on a lot of things this year. I give credit where credit's due. He did a significantly better job this year, and he even called himself out on a lot of the jokes, especially with the Muppets.
The Muppets, those are pretty good, yeah.
So I was okay with it. I think he did a great job. And even though there was a lot of ads, it wasn't as egregious. People got their speeches. There wasn't a lot of weird theatrics this year, thank God. So I was happy with it.
They did better. I feel like they could still improve. There's a lot of times they'll just rapid fire off awards.
Yeah.
And not even small awards like best esports team or something like that. No offense, esport players. But sometimes best action game, best RPG. Excuse me. Bring them up to the podium. Let them have their say.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. But overall, he did a lot better. They gave them a lot more time. It was a lot more respectful.
Also, shout out.
Also,
go ahead.
We might be talking about the same thing. They introduced a new award.
We're not.
Which was, I don't remember what it was specifically called, but it was basically for people who are having positive impact.
Yeah, it's not Games for Impact, but it's Person of the Year or Developer of the Year or something like that.
Something like that. And I think this was, if you guys remember correctly, Game of the Year awards. The Game Awards, that's what it's called. The Game Awards last year fell around the time that all the layoffs were happening, and people really wanted Jeff Keighley to comment on them, and he did not. Instead, he talked about Fortnite and other things a lot and brought up Timothy Chalamet, which is why people were so angry with him.
Yeah.
And I feel like this year, to kind of counteract that, not only did he bring up the layoffs and how unprecedented those are and the struggle that is creating for a lot of game developers, but then they gave this award to a man who has been working to find new jobs for people in game development. So I feel like they really tried to correct their mistakes of yesteryear.
Which, shout out that guy, and most importantly, and the star of all of the Game Awards this year, shout out to Flute Guy. Flute Guy was the best.
Yeah, there was a guy who played 6 different instruments at one point.
Oh,
I don't know if you noticed him.
Yeah, it was the game of the year symphony they always do. That's Flute Guy.
Yeah, the medley.
Yeah,
he played 6 different instruments every time, and he was having the time of his life up there.
Man was going hard.
So great. But anyway, we got to move on because we have a lot more to talk about.
Okay. So yeah, now we're gonna talk about our own personal games of the year.
Very
Uh,
quickly.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
we'll look at 2025 games that are coming out, things that are going to be talked about, and what we're going to be playing in 2025. Because we both created backlogs of video games that we really want to get through.
I might even show mine on screen because I can. Uh,
And I can film it, but
I probably won't. But anywho, M, are we talking about the best games we played in 2024 or the best games we think that came out in 2024 that we played? Did they have?
we played best game, our favorite games, and I'm not talking about quality or the highest,
Oh
like
yeah, no.
I'm talking about your favorite, the games you had the most fun with in 2024.
Okay, so I'm gonna put Baldur's Gate 3 as an honorable mention. It came out in 2023, but I
Played it in 2024.
huh?
You played it in
Yeah,
2024, and
yeah.
that's what counts.
It's still an honorable mention. I put in like 130 hours into it. It is a blast. It is, and I haven't even scratched this. That's what scares me. I played 130 hours and I barely scratched the surface of what that thing has to offer. It
There's
has
so many
so much
choices and, like,
replayability.
routes.
Huh?
There's so many routes
It's insane.
and
And
choices.
for like a year and a half, they kept adding new endings. Like it's insane how many endings there are. So shout out to that. I think my favorite games, the most fun I had this year in games I played. I think at number 4, I'm gonna go Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It was a good start to the year, but it was very long and there was too many mini games. At number 3, I have Stellar Blade because it surprised me. It looked fun to me. I know jiggle physics, haha, funny. But it actually took me by surprise, and it's the closest to a Souls-like I've ever gotten. With enjoying myself, even though it's not truly a Souls-like, it still was hard as nails, and but it felt fair. Like I didn't feel like I was gonna kill myself over it. Really enjoyed it. Number 2 was Astrobot. Shockingly, this is by a hair. By a hair. You know what number 1 was? Yeah.
I did. I had to think about that for a second. All right.
Yeah. By a hair. It was so close. Honestly, they keep flip flopping every time I touch one of them. Number 1 was Metaphor. Because I expected a Persona clone, and I got way more than that. I got Atlas's magnum opus right now. I think if they keep this, they couldn't surpass the Persona series with how good it was. I was so impressed, and I had such a good time with it. And I will eventually get Emily to play it, but she's got to play Persona 3 Reload first.
We'll have to get through first. We got a lot of going on in 2025.
I bought her Persona 3 Reload last year, and she has another Atlas game that I let her borrow. Still. Yeah, that's my list. Metaphor is the cream of the crop. It was so good, and that was my personal game of the year. But I was okay with Astrobot. I was so okay with Astrobot.
It was a good win. They deserved it.
Yeah, for sure.
My top games of the year, not of the years. It was only 1 year.
Disney Dreamlight Valley and all the slots.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's, again, not a new game, but dang, if it didn't take my most played for like 9 out of the 12 months, if I didn't have so much fun with it throughout 2024, and I think that's going to continue to be the case in 2025, especially with Aladdin and Jasmine coming next month. I'm having a great time with that game. It has not stopped being fun for me, so maybe one day it will be, but it's not that day. Didn't happen in 2024. So gotta give that one a spot. I will just say Astrobot. These are not in any particular order for the record. I'll say Astrobot because that was, like I said, a perfect game from beginning to end. I had so much fun with it. It was a great platformer that kept me challenged without making me want to smash my controller. And I feel like that's a very delicate balance to find. And I think it really succeeded in that. Obviously, Game of the Year winner, so has to be on the list. Next, I'm going to throw out Star Wars Outlaws. That was not a very well-reviewed or popular game, but I had a phenomenal time with it, especially as somebody who's not into the Star Wars franchise from beginning to end. I just had so much fun with it, so I can't not include that one. If you want to have fun with it, go have fun with it. I think it's on sale. It should be on sale soon. I really want Blake to play it. I don't remember if it was on his backlog for this year or not.
It's not, but I if I have time, like if I finish a lot of what I'm going to do, it is a potential. It is for sure.
It's a fun game. It gave me that stealth element because it's made by Ubisoft, and obviously Ubisoft's very famous for making the Assassin's Creed which, as you all know by this point, I'm a huge fan of. So there was a lot of that formula in there of stealth, but it was also stealth with guns this time, which I found really exciting. And you do stealth with your little companion creature, Nyx, and that made me just really happy. And next would probably be Dragon Age Veilguard. I played that game, and that was the last new game I played for the year. It was so much fun. Guys, I loved Veilguard. I loved it so much. I know it's gotten, again, not another super well-reviewed game, especially coming on the heels of Dragon Age Inquisition, but me and my friends had a great time with it. We all got it at the same time and played it at the same time, so we had a lot of fun comparing the choices that we were making and how our stories were unfolding differently. And, just if you can get past the very silly dialogue from time to time, or the very heavy-handed social topics from time to time, I think it's a really fun play. And
I will be playing it at some point.
It's fun. I will also throw out, this was not a game that came out this year. In fact, this is a pretty old game, but I played it for the first time this year, and that's Dragon Age Inquisition. That actually took one of my top 5 most played games of the year, so I feel like I should mention it. I played it for the first time, and phenomenal game. It deserved, if you guys are aware, I think that won Game of the Year 2017, 2015, something like that. It did win Game of the Year, and for a good reason. The companions are incredible. The world is incredible. The story is great. To Dragon Age really took it for me this year.
It's also, I'm going to play Dragon Age at some point.
Honorable mention. This one is not Game of the Year quality, but honorable mention to Princess Peach's Showtime and Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door 2 that Nintendo tossed me this year.
Yeah,
Princess Peach's Showtime wasn't anything to write home about, but it was a really fun, wholesome 15-hour game, 10-hour game maybe even, that I had a really great time going through because it was not a 120-hour massive RPG, and it kept things up. It had cute costumes. I had a great time with it. And Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door for remaking a classic.
And that classic line that we thought was remade in there, but it was not remade in there about fiber internet.
Oh, yeah. There were a lot of jokes. I was like, oh, wow, they rewrote this. And then it turns out it's not the case.
Apparently, they were ahead of their time in 2004, and we just did not know.
Yeah, but that was another great opportunity to get to go through that game again. Blake and I both had a lot of fun replaying that.
Oh, I love the hell out of it. I love that game so much. Okay, we're going to quickly talk about our backlog. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to talk about the Switch first, and then we'll talk about our backlog.
We're going to talk about everything that's coming up in 2025. We mentioned Assassin's Creed Shadows was coming out February 14th. Now it's March 20th. I personally have been looking forward to, but I know Blake has not been, Tales from the Shire, which looks like
Does that have a release date?
It does, March. It was actually supposed to come out in December, and it got pushed back. I also believe that one's coming out in March. I think some people already I've heard some mixed reviews on it so far already, but I'm still gonna play and review it because I really like wholesome games like that.
You're gonna play it. It is 5 days after Shadows.
Still good. It might be a later review, but I think it's gonna be a great. Honestly, that could work in his favor. If I have to play 100 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, switching to like a wholesome farming life sims set in the Shire could be a really good breath of fresh air for me, or it could be boring. We'll find out. But I've been looking forward to that game for a bit because the decoration looks pretty fun. And then only other one for me that's big coming up this year is Ghost of Yotei, and we don't have a date for that.
Yeah, because I added to my list. Of like, oh, what am I excited for coming out this year? AC Shadows and Ghost of Yotei, and yep, that's it.
We don't have much on the table for this year. I mean, we know at some point Switch 2 is coming, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to announce it, as Blake will say, 2 to 3 weeks. That's his guess.
Yep.
And I've heard rumors that a new Mario Kart is going to be the launch title. Obviously, that's not confirmed. That's just a rumor I've heard. But Blake and I have talked about this on the podcast before. I'm not sure what launch title there could be that would really entice me to buy it right away. We are coming up now on 5 years since not Assassin's Creed. Jeez.
The
ACs, man. They really do something in my head.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. So I
Oh
think in the
God,
next year or two,
2020 was 5 years ago. Oh
it's
my
been half a
God.
decade since the pandemic. It has been half a decade since then.
I was
Um,
so young and so naive. I was
I had just
27 years old.
I had just moved back from Japan and started my first big girl grown-up job. And I
Oh,
remember celebrating New Year's Eve. We rang in 2020, and I was like, this is the year because it's the Roaring Twenties, and because I specifically remember making an Instagram post talking about how this was the year Assassin or that's dang it, Animal Crossing was coming out, and I was so excited for Animal Crossing, and Animal Crossing came exactly when I needed it, and now it's been 5 years, so give me another one, Nintendo, please.
I love how you said it was the year. It was the Roaring Twenties. Like the twenties back then didn't have the Great Depression as well.
Later, like the depression came at the end of the Roaring Twenties.
We just got it early. We got it very early. You know.
That's don't put that energy out there. We still have 5 more years of the 20s.
Oh God.
We or 4 more, I guess. There's still more that could happen in the 20s. We are not past a depression yet.
I need to slow down because I just turned 32, and if we get to the end of the 20s, then I will be in my late 30s, and I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, I'm still in my 20s, so I'm still living life and I'm still great and I definitely
Oh, you're
don't
so
question my
young.
mortality every single day. Um so yeah, that's pretty much all I'm looking at in 2025. I don't even know if there's been any big really. Oh, I guess the Death Stranding 2 is slated for this year.
I
That
don't.
I'm not really gonna play.
That's yeah. I mean, I think the 1920s. When y'all say that, yeah,
That's
that's
the
what.
worst part, but we're in them now. It's officially been 100 years since the
Since
1920s.
Great Gatsby happened. I'm just kidding. Just ignore me, please. um,
We are, unfortunately, 100 years past the 1920s. Also, did this? No, that was in the 1910s when the Spanish influenza hit. But
yes.
or late 1910s. All I'm saying is there's some big changes coming in this month even. So don't start throwing out that we're past the bad stuff. Yes. If you
Uh,
want to wear it the 19 yeah. You know what?
I'll
Maybe
wear a flapper dress. I'll do it. I'll do it.
like this is going to be the year I'm just going to wear fun outfits. I'm just going to dress so fun every single day and everyone will be so confused and weirded out by me.
Uh, Anywho, the last
Wait,
thing we
here.
had to talk about for
Like you're
20.
not going to dress funny with me?
I mean, I will. You know, I will.
Okay.
I'll buy a flapper dress.
Bet.
The last thing for 2025 we have to talk about before we move into our backlog stuff is this. The thing I mentioned earlier, Genki releasing. There's been so many Switch 2 leaks.
Oh.
It's been
Yeah.
insane. And this actually, so Genki, if you don't know, they for the original Switch, they made that Bluetooth adapter back before the Switch had Bluetooth for headphones. I'm gonna switch this scene before you kill me because you're.
I already see it.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. You can just leave it. I don't care.
Okay, try not to make you upset. I'm sorry. So yeah,
okay.
they create accessories for the Switch and for different gaming consoles, but they mainly focus on the Switch. And obviously, they got images and prototypes and all that of the Switch 2, so they can start developing for that. And so they said, "Hey, we can't keep a secret," and they went to CES and they showed off a 3D model of the Switch 2. What we've learned
For that instantly.
Huh?
Like, do they not sign like
An
they not
NDA?
sign NDAs? Yeah.
I here's the weird thing. So many leaks have come out. I think Nintendo's like, we can't do anything at this point. Like so much has come out that we're just.
I guess. And if you all haven't been keeping up with what's been coming out, essentially, I think it's been summarized to have a larger screen. The Joy-Cons are magnetic. That's what I got.
Yeah. It is a larger
It's going to
screen.
be the same, just slightly different.
Yeah, so the Joy-Cons are magnetic because the SR and LR buttons are made of metal, and there is a now, instead of a like push button where you have to slide up and down, there's a push away from the magnets button, so it's significantly easier, so it doesn't feel like you're yanking things off. Also, there will be a USB-C port on the top and the bottom now. They know the top can be used for charging like the bottom, but we don't know what else it could be used for. I'm assuming this is also going to be backwards compatible with Switch games, but people have already.
They've already said it's going to be backwards compatible. I believe.
Yeah. But they don't know I'm sorry, they tested the size with a Switch 1 dock, and it will not fit on a Switch 1 dock. It is not the same size. So, but you'll probably be getting a new dock with your fancy Switch anyways. So,
I bought the
uh-huh.
special edition Animal Crossing Switch and dock. If you think I'm not going to try to shove my Switch 2 on that dock, they're not selling this for me, man.
Look at the size difference though. It's pretty big.
Huge.
It's an 8-inch screen from corner to corner. That's insane.
Again, fine, I'll take an upgrade, but like, there's really, I can't think of anything that they could offer me that would make me like.
I can think of one thing. Wind Waker.
You're so right.
I was like, where is it? And we haven't been gone for that long. We haven't been gone for that long for you to forget Wind Waker.
Did I show you a video? I might have sent it to you on Instagram of like Twilight Princess Link and Wind Waker Link talking about that.
Yes.
I want it so badly. But I know Nintendo well enough to know they're not going to do 2 ports as like their launch titles.
Yeah, they won't. They should.
No. Three things
they have.
They can do.
That's a lie. They for the Switch, Mario Kart 8 is a port, and technically Breath of the Wild is a port because it initially was built for the Wii U. It just came out on the same day because it was delayed.
They co-launch it. Okay, fine. But I don't think they're going to open the gate with Wind Waker. No. But there's only 2 games that could get me to buy Switch 2 right away, and that would be Wind Waker and a new Animal Crossing. I don't think anything else that they do. I mean, I guess a new Zelda game too, but like they're not going to hand me a new Zelda game.
It's too early. It's too early for a new Zelda game.
Yeah, it's way too early. That's what I mean. So I don't think we'll all be rushing that.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Phoenix. It's going to be a third. Breath of the Wind. The Legend leg.
Like the leg.
Yeah, leg.
Breath of the Wind has always been my personal favorite on that list.
Oh.
I like it.
Speaking of lists, the last thing.
Let's do our last thing before we sign off.
We have backlogs, and I'll let Emily go over hers because it's significantly shorter than mine. It is, and I would show you, but I don't have a copy of it to show you. Unless she quickly.
Mine is significantly shorter. I'd like to add that mine is shorter, because mine's realistic, but also at the same time, Emily is also planning on getting through 60-some books this year. That's not what I want.
Brave soul.
So, Emily doesn't have as much time. Backlog for 2025, most of its books. I plan on beating Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut. I really want to re-platinum it and do that one before Ghost of Yotei comes out, which is my next one, Ghost of Yotei. I want to get through Persona 3 Reload. Blake gifted me that so kindly, and I haven't beaten it yet.
It's been almost a year.
Another game Blake loaned me that I have to get through. That one is a little rough. I started it, and there was a naked girl inside of a mech making noises, so I turned it off.
They're all naked.
Get through it. You can get through it.
It's an Atlas game. What do you expect?
Obviously, Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out in March of this year, quickly followed by Hobbit Tales from the Shire, and 2 older games. I mean, not older, but games that I've owned, haven't played yet, Baldur's Gate 3 and Mass Effect the Legendary Edition.
Oh no. Emily and I have a shared game on our backlog.
Is that the Legendary Edition?
Yeah. Okay, so if we look here, I have mine ready because it's obviously my computer. Yeah, I have a computer working again. What of it? Emily also was very, like, she sent me a photo. She had hers like all laid out. I was writing mine down and I'm like, yeah, an Excel spreadsheet sounds so much better. I actually printed this out and I put it on my wall, though this information is now incorrect. Oh
yeah. Gotta update that one.
Yeah, it sucks. Anywho, yeah, I plan on beating these 5 PS3 games. Infamous 2. Because I love Second Son on the PS4, and I got to play the originals. Journey, because everyone praises Journey, and so I need to play Journey. It's a very short game. I'll play that on stream. Last Rebellion, I don't remember when I picked it up. I just know it's on my shelf, and I might as well give it a shot. I don't know. And then Lost Dimension was just another Atlas game. that I bought. This one I do know I bought for like $15, and now it's worth like $80. So
Nice.
I was like, I better play it. In the PS4 category, Emily's asked me for a very long time, and I'm finally gonna go back to Odyssey, and I'm gonna beat Odyssey.
You know what? If you don't want to, that's okay. I
No,
feel
no,
like the
no. It's
time's
on.
almost
Emily,
passed.
shut the fuck up. It's gonna.
I almost like, I'm like, should I cash that in for something else? But I don't even know what I cash it in for at this point.
No, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play Odyssey.
Oh, I do see one from your list I want to add to my list.
Oh,
The
interesting.
Witcher 3. Just because I know that
Yeah.
the Witcher game has been teased. So
Bloodborne, I think it's gonna be a good stream game. I think me getting frustrated on stream with Bloodborne is a good time, and it's about time that I actually give it the old college try.
I don't know if you'll beat it that way, but I sure think it will be good streaming content.
It will be funny. It will be very, very funny. So this and Journey will both be on stream. These are two JRPGs. I'm not gonna play those on stream. Cyberpunk 2077, or as my wife likes to call it,
Brave Soul.
my wife likes to call it the penis game. Because they, just like Baldur's Gate 3, they let you see dicks and other
Yeah, but
private
they
parts.
did it before Baldur's Gate 3.
They did it first. God of War 2018, I just need to finally do it. I just need to do it.
I do as well, but I don't know if I'm slating that one for this year.
That's totally fine. Mass Effect collection. I've made promises and I am far behind on those promises, so I need to play them all.
80 hours estimated completion. What are you smoking, dog?
Not for platinum, just in general. From what I saw,
what
they
are
were
you smoking, dog? I guess I should go and see what my final.
they were
tally for
all
hours
like between 25 to 30 hours a piece for main story.
Yeah, but mate, like, there's so much side stuff
I
to do. I know
know.
you well
That's
enough to know
why
you're gonna do it.
It's estimated time.
I think my Assassin's Creed. Why do I keep saying everything Assassin's Creed? My Mass Effect Andromeda run, I think, was like 60 hours.
Oh boy. Medieval was a gift. That will also be streamed. I've actually wanted to play Medieval like forever, since I know it's a PS1 classic and they remade it and I need to play it. Shouts out to the gift giver. I will not name you. Because I know you don't like being in the spotlight. Mega Man Battle Network Collection. These are games from my childhood. I'm only going to play the first one this year because there are 6 of them, and it would be suicide to try to play them all in 1 year. It'd be too much. Tales of Berseria and Zestiria, 2 more JRPGs. Witcher 3, we've already talked about. Final Fantasy 16 is the first game I had to play this year, and I had to beat this year. Because I lost a bet last year. I've already started it. I was on stream. I'm not going to finish streaming it. It's not a stream game. I just need to get through it and play it and enjoy it. Haven, that is a stream game. That is a little indie game that I've heard nothing but good things about. Persona 5 Tactica, because it's the only spin-off Persona 5 game I haven't played. I've just been putting it off because I don't love tactical RPGs. Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's just harder Persona. It's the Dark Souls of. I know. I see your face, Em.
No, you just have a lot of games to get through this year.
I know. Sonic Frontiers, I started and I never finished. I need to finish it. Soul Hackers 2, I started and I never finished. And then Tales of Arise. So I have a lot on my plate. I timed it, as you see. The total estimated time is 882 hours.
Accurate.
So, yeah.
There's no way you beat 4 Mass Effect games in 80 hours.
4, that's the Mass Effect collection. Andromeda will have to wait. I don't own Andromeda. I'm not allowed to buy games until I complete this list on my backlog, except for games for podcast.
The way, if this was like a normal Discord call and not podcast, I would have left this chat instantly. Thought about it, and then I was like, this is podcast. I can't do it.
I'm only buying games that are new for podcasts, that are big releases, or that I'm excited for. And yeah, that's the main stuff there. That's my backlog. And if we have time for one more segment, for one mini segment, Em, do you have time for one last thing?
What is it?
We're going to talk about coming into 2025. I had only played 3 games on the Game of the Year contender list. I'd only played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've only played Metaphor, and I had only played Astrobot. I did not play Black Myth Wukong. I did not play Shadow of the Erdtree, and I did not play Balatro. In 2025, I got Balatro. to see what the hype was about. Because on its surface, it is just a poker game. It is just a poker roguelike, and it doesn't seem like it's that fun. But let me tell you, this game will either make you a gambling addict or cure you of your gambling addiction. It is that addicting. That's all you're going to want to do is play.
That's that addictive will cure you of your gambling addiction.
It's crazy. I've seen both Reddit posts. One saying, I no longer have to go to the casino because of Balatro, and I just play at home and don't waste any money.
Well, see, that's the thing. They're saving money, but they still haven't been cured of their addiction.
You're right. It's a good crutch. It's a healthy crutch, I guess. And then there are people who say, damn it, now I have a gambling addiction thanks to Balatro. Balatro is what I would consider the perfect non-story game, the perfect turn off your brain in a different way. Like when you're playing Balatro, you don't have time to think about your own stressors in life. You are just focused on one thing. How do I beat the boss blind of this round? Are my jokers correct? Is this hand gonna do it?
Joker. Sorry, I can't not think of Persona 5.
No, I'm shocked they haven't made a collab with them for jokers yet. If you haven't tried Balatro, it is I highly recommend it. I now understand why it was nominated for Game of the Year. Because once again, it was made by one dude. It was not made for multiple years. It may have been, but it was made by one dude. And it's such a simple game. But my God, is it so much fun. And it is more fun than I thought it would be. It's so fun that my brother, who I have had trouble convincing to try most games, is now addicted to it. And is sending me strategies on it.
I'd like to see that more in the future. I'd like to see smaller devs and smaller games make it for Game of the Year contention.
I still am a firm believer that back in the day, Celeste should have been nominated for Game of the Year. It wasn't, but Celeste is still one of the greatest games of all time. But besides the point, Balatro, if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Give it a shot. I think it's worth it. It's $16, $16.
Right. Yeah.
It's cheap.
That's what I love. I love great games that are low price.
Mm-hmm. It's not a very big barrier of entry. And when you play it, once again, you're going to be like, I don't understand this. And for the first hour, you're not going to get it. And then when you finally get it, you're like, shit, how do I do this?
Also, for anyone who's interested, Star Wars Outlaws is on sale at Best Buy from $70 to $40.
Emily, I just told you I can't go buy games. My wife is holding me to it.
It's okay. I know one other person who played this game at the same time I did, and we both loved it. So I can.
I know who it is. That's all you need.
Just that one person.
Got
a friend.
Yes, G. It's a PSA, but it's very much a targeted PSA. It is very much a targeted PSA. Well, it's a Best Buy PSA in this case, not Target. But sorry, jokes aside.
Listen. I want more people to play this game to talk about it with me. And my best friend who loves Star Wars doesn't have a PlayStation at the moment, so she can't play it.
Okay, one, I'm your best friend. 2, I don't love Star Wars anymore like I used to. I used to love it, but now I don't love it like I used to.
You weren't even who I was talking about. I was talking about my best friend in Korea who loves Star Wars.
Yeah, you said your best friend. I'm not in Korea, though. I'm right here.
One of my best friends.
That's right. That's what I thought.
Listen, we're not 5. We can have more than one best friend.
It's true. Hey, remember, Emily, you're on my favorites list towards the top.
That's so exciting. Am I still Emily Klaus?
No, you're Emily Jean the 33rd.
That's exciting. For watchers, there was a time where we made fun of Blake because he had very professional and formal names for everyone in his phone. He doesn't do like the fun nickname thing a lot of people do.
Oh my God. I still don't do it for everybody. I only do it for certain people. Okay. My friend Tess is Tessa for Jones. There's no Jones in her name anywhere. Oh.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I had to speak to someone IRL. Yes, he had a. Did you mention the Best Buy one?
Our friend Nate. I before I knew his last name, I just got his number. This is when we first met. I just put him in my phone as Nate Best Buy because that's all I knew him as.
Yeah, but to be clear, years after knowing this man,
I never changed it.
Having lived with him at certain points,
For 2 weeks.
Still had him as Nate Best Buy.
I never changed it. I just never fixed it. And now it's fixed. Now it's something different. It's Nathan
That's
Nathaniel, even though his name's
Because
not
we made
Nathaniel.
fun of you for it.
I know. I felt bad, and so I did it. The only other person I can think of off the top of my head is, for some reason, and this one's silly, and there was a joke behind it that I don't remember, making this even funnier, is Chase is in my phone, but his name, the C is missing. And I know there's a reason he's in there as just Hace, and I know there was a joke, but neither of us can remember it, and it makes it so much funnier to me.
I like that.
I'm in
Hey,
his
we got to
phone.
end podcast though.
She's got real life stuff. We're real people. Okay, on that note, I'm
My
back
dog's
to
gotta go outside.
I'm back to streaming starting next Sunday at my normal time. I'm back at it, baby. Woohoo, let's go. Emily, she promises and then she never does it. It's fine.
Excuse me, I played all of Silent Hill 2 on stream. I had like a 6-hour stream one day.
I know, and then she never came back after.
You know what? Life happened. I was overseas, the holidays, we did podcasts. Listen, I was busy, but I'm gonna get back into it. Let me look at my backlog real quick. What's a good dream game from my backlog?
I even
know.
put
Maybe-
stream games on here.
I'll play the beginning of Shadows or Yote or something. I don't know. We'll stream at some point. I have some indie horror games I can pull out of the woodwork. Always excited for more of those.
We'll get it figured out. There's one game coming out this year we forgot to add to our list, and that's the co-op, like It Takes Two people game that's coming out this year that we got to play
I
together.
still have to play It Takes Two, so
Which I'll play with you as well. I will go through that with you, even though I've already played it. Okay, on that note, we are going to drop off. Emily's got to go because she's got a real life, and I also got real life. Okay, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful night. Goodbye. Don't do anything.
hang out with us.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.